Hey guys, it's your boy, the Bad Wolf. What is the word? Okay, so this video is going to be a little bit about um, accepted for value, set off or mutual set off, and LPN. Okay, now an accepted for value, basically what you're saying is, and I'm going to start off right now. Do I have this paperwork? Some of it, yes. Am I going to sell it? No. Because, and I'll explain why real quick before I, go into the rest of information. Because people have gotten into trouble doing some of these things the wrong way, and I don't want to be anywhere near responsible for anything like that. Because um, at the end of the day, you know, these people, the powers, the GOV, if they want to try to, stand on you, make an example out of you, they will. Okay. So I'm going to tell you right now, um, don't do anything to put yourself in trouble. Okay. So now, an accepted for value, what that basically is you're telling them to discharge, whatever bills or debts you have because you haven't received anything actually, physical, and it's all in the commerce world, and so you want to discharge it because when they took away our ability to pay for things in gold and silver, it all went to Federal Reserve notes. Well, Federal Reserve notes are promissory notes issued by a private corporation. Okay, so we have the ability to basically do the same thing, and so legally they gave us the ability to discharge things. Okay, that's why they're basically kind of written off, just checks and balances, adds and subtractions on paper. All right. So you can look up accepted for value and what the stamp looks like, or how to create your own if you really want to know how to, do that. Like I said, just, you know, don't go crazy with it. Some places might take it, some places might not take it. I have done all of these things I'm going to mention you. Some things I got into some light trouble about. Some things I steered clear of trouble before it even got to my doorstep. And others I did successfully. Okay. I'm not going to steer you down any one way, but I will give you the last one, which generally works. These last two are a little bit better depending. So you can ask for remedy, like if you owe a loan, or for your house, or you've got some debts. You can contact them and say, what's the remedy for this, or that you want to enact a set off. Okay, like even with the IRS, you can ask them for what's the set off, or what is the mutual set off, for this. How do we balance this out? And they may or may not tell you, your options, or they may work with you to get it, so you can reduce it or whatever else. But it's also, once again, another way to write off something or to discharge it. Now, the last way, real quick, which has worked numerous times, this is educational purposes, which is legal, and I'll explain why, is to do, some people call it an LPN, or basically it's a promissory note, which is equivalent to a negotiable instrument. Okay. On the private side, it's more so known as a promissory note. On the legal side, it's known as a negotiable instrument. Okay. And what is it? Basically, you're making a document with a promise to pay, with certain guidelines have to be met. So if you're interested in doing that, look up how to create your own promissory note or negotiable instrument, and that'll give you information. Now, not all of these places are going to accept it. Okay. But by law, according to the UCC books, they are supposed to, because as long as you're not, see, the thing is when you copy money, you're counterfeiting because you're copying someone else's private material. So when you make your own promissory notes or negotiable instrument, you don't want to copy someone's exactly. You want to make your own. Put your own family crest on there. Put your name on there. Your own terms. If this is my promissory note, good for all debts, public and private. Yada yada yada. Okay. But go through a ton of them to see all the different examples before just creating one, because, like I said, you can get into trouble by not putting the proper terms. This person has 5 business days upon receipt to come to my house to receive it, or or I can make, the provider of this will make payments towards this figure, of $500 for the next, until paid. Or I give as the issuer, whoever signs or co-signs this, particular negotiable instrument can sign this over to a third party and have it monetized. So there's tons of things you can put on there. You just have to find what works for you. But a promissory note or negotiable instrument can pay off debts. Some people have used them to buy things. I would be very careful about that. But there's nothing illegal about it. Some places will take it and some won't. My tips would be to write a thorough one, even if it's a full page. And typically you're going to want to deal with like the CFO or the CEO of whatever you're dealing with. Okay. So if you're paying off, let's say hypothetically, a student loan, or a car loan, which I've seen tons of videos on there where people have done exactly what I'm saying, and they have paid these things off. Some places didn't take them. Oh, another thing that some people will put on there is if this is not returned within 3 days or 5 business days, this constitutes a contract. You've then accepted my negotiable instrument as legal tender, and I'm entitled to, the benefits thereof. Meaning if they don't return that, because you're considering that money, that they owe you whatever, the debt isn't wiped out or this or that. Now, if you're going to do this, you're going to have to, by law, keep a ledger of your negotiable instruments. So as you sign you create your note, or whatever you want to call it, LPN, a check, I wouldn't call it a check, but a negotiable instrument, write down in your book your number, 1001642A. Okay. And then if you write another one, 1001423D or whatever, just have your system, because if they ask you, about that, or it needs to be proven that, for their records, whoever, whatever, you better have that. Okay. You have to keep records of these actions. All right. Just like the Federal Reserve does, you have to do it, same thing, because you are your own. You have to be held accountable. Okay, to a degree. This is just the best way to stay out of trouble, people. If you never learn anything from me in my videos, it's always about preparing yourself and prevention. Okay, so this way you're covered. So yeah, basically that's about it. If you are looking to try to find out more information about that, look up promissory notes, what they are they legal, how to utilize them, set off, mutual set off, accepted for value, how to discharge a debt, things of that nature, and it'll put you on the path. Like I said, I used to help people out with this a lot more years ago, but like I said, they started cracking down and looking at people a little too closely. And let me tell you, it's nerve-wracking when you've got, these agencies looking at you. So to avoid all that, I'm just going to put the power in your hands, but I'm not going to steer you towards any one thing or not. But, legally, you can ask for a set-off. You can ask for a mutual set-off. You can do an LPN. And accepted for value, if you want to know a little bit more about that, which people have used it and been successful, but some people haven't on that particular one. So look up all these things before doing anything, learn what they are, and then if you feel that this is the better way to go, then I would go with that one. But if I honestly, just my experience and what I have done, like I said, I've tried all these and then some. Asking for a remedy or a set-off, is basically you saying, hey, look, I really can't pay this. What are the methods that you have to balance this out to zero? What can we do? And, that's one way. Or the promissory note, which is also a negotiable instrument, would be my potentially recommended ways to handle those situations. All right, guys, so that's really about it. Like I said, I could make specific videos about each one and go a lot more in depth, but I don't want to, I'm not a financial person. I'm not a financial guide, none of that kind of stuff. You have to do your own due diligence on that. I'm just the one who opened the door, and you may check it out at your leisure. It's another option if you want. So that's about it, guys. If you, like I said, like the video, don't forget to hit that bell, like, subscribe, and like I said, just look up samples of all these things, and you should find a option that might be able to help you out. If nothing else, it'll just open your eyes to, you know, available options that could work for you. And you know what? Like I said, some of these, they've all worked for different people. It's just in how you set it up. And for instance, like if you do an accepted for value here, I'll give you some, here's kind of one of the reasons why. Okay, let's just break it down at least a little bit more. If you do an accepted for value, you don't want to use your social security number. That's bad. You don't want to use your birth certificate bond numbers. You don't want to use your you know, any federal numbers that they have ever given you. You don't want to give them. Okay, you don't want to put on this document because it's fraud. All right. Some people have taken those numbers, like especially their social, and put it in brackets because legally that represents that it's not there. But like I said, that's kind of bad. Some people have copied other people's letters that they created for accepted for value, and then that was basically fraud, and then some of them compounded it by putting federal numbers on there, so it's bad. Those are the reasons why I'm hesitant to, you know, basically go into, you know, further detail about it. So basically, if you're going to do any of this stuff, create your own. I'm not steering you towards any one way. I'm just telling you some of these things have worked. Look it up for yourself. Do not copy other people's materials, claim them as yours, and send them to the federal GOV or any of those places because they don't like it. Okay, because when they give it to a bank to either monetize it or whatever else, and all of a sudden somebody else does the same thing and they're the same, or the GOV sees it and they're like, oh, you weren't supposed to put our numbers on that. That's not one of our federal documents. Think about it. You can't take your marriage certificate number and then reissue it to other people who are married for other purposes. You can't reissue or issue your social security number or the number on the back or any CUSIP numbers, right? I gotcha. You can't copy money because that's fraud and copyright infringement, you know. There you go. All right, so that's the only reason why I was a little hesitant, you know, about the information. But especially with like the other ones I mentioned, if you create your own, you know, people have had success with that because making your own negotiable instrument the right way is legal and valid in a private format, and they can accept it. Many banks have accepted them and converted them into paying debts or whatever else by means of monetization. So that's about it, guys. I hope you appreciate this information. I hope you do something with it. If nothing else, just learn. Like I said, I assume no responsibility for your success or your failures. I'm just putting you on the path. So that's about it, guys. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and bell and whatever else you can find, a tap and, you know, whatever else on the way out. I appreciate it, and I'm going to bring you guys some more videos to open your mind and get you guys woke. And as Morpheus said, welcome to the real world. So talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.